Mirko, how's it going? I hope you're doing okay. I too will be settling into a long weekend of animating. So I thought that I'd stop by and take a look at your shop, though. Let's take a look.
And I'll put a paper bag over heads or something.
Yes.
I went back and I looked at your whole shot, and the thing that I'm feeling is that right now you've got this guy and you've got this guy, and if you were to like sort of plot their performances on a graph, I feel like they're both flat. Like the line right now is kind of very, like there's not a whole lot of excitement in it. You've got the one guy that says, I forget what the line is. The entire line. It's something like, so the world's gonna end, and then the other guy says yes, and then the other guy says, well, it almost sounds like Paul McCartney a little bit. He's like, should we put a bag over our head or something? Is there anything we can do? And the other guy's like, no, not really. So there's nothing there that, to me personally, that exudes uh, excitement or uh, intensity, or urgency. So what we could do, or what you could do, is insert it in the shot, regardless of the line. So just thinking about it, um, I think that when you do listen to the line, this guy here, he's sort of, you gotta kind of, like, the thing that I feel like I'm missing is what's the story here? Like, I think we've got this guy that he knows that the world is gonna end, and he is clearly doing something about it, right? He's got a suitcase, so he's either got a plan to save himself, or he is going to visit relatives before the world ends, or something. But he knows that it's going to happen, and he's got some sort of plan on what to do because of that. This guy over here is finding out that the world is ending for the first time, and he doesn't know what to do. He might be shocked, he might be in disbelief, but this is where I think you can play with this guy, because this guy, he knows something is going on, right? This guy doesn't. So here's where you can pull a lot of intensity out of this guy. Even though it's not in the line, or I feel that it's not in the line, you can put it in. Okay, so what could you do? Well, this guy here, he's getting into his car. So he could be either uh, um, he's got a plan, right? So he either has a plan, or he is just going through the motions, right? So let's say that he has a plan, right? He's gonna try to avoid this end of world scenario. Okay, so maybe he's like, okay, I've got my bag, I've got my suitcase. Okay, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this and that and that and this. Okay, all right, okay. Shuts the thing. So in that case, he has some intensity on his face in that, all right, here's my plan. I need to get my underwear and my cat and go. So he's got a, so he could have that intensity in the shot on his face, where he's like, okay, I've got my underwear, I've got my cat. Okay, I think I'm set now. Maybe he's going it over several times, like, so there could be, on this character here, we could see more intensity in his face, right? Maybe his brows are down a little bit more. Maybe his eyes are squinting, because he's kind of paying attention. He's concentrating, so maybe his eyes are squinting a little bit more, and his brows are low down, and maybe his lips up or whatever. I don't know. He's kind of intense, right? Maybe that's a scenario. The other thing that he could be is he could be like sad. Maybe he's just like, oh, the world's gonna end. Maybe he's like kind of teary-eyed or whatever. But the line is that he kind of like thinks that there's nothing you can do, But that's just kind of a flat emotion. So I'd rather see him with a plan or something, just doing something. But the other guy is where you can draw a lot of a lot more intensity because he is finding out for the very first time that the world is going to end, right? So just think, what would you do if you found out the world was going to? He'd be like, wait, so the world's going to end? You know, he could be. You know, I would have the brows up, or kind of confused. I'd have the eyes really wide open with the pupils in the center, so we see a lot of white around the eyes, so that it's kind of very intense. You know, like that. His jaw, you could play a lot with the reaction. Like I was thinking that, you know, when he hears, wait, so the world's gonna end, and then he's like, huh, the world's gonna end, and then the guy says yes. He goes, maybe he does like a take or something like that with like a skewed jaw, like, well, could we put a bag over our heads or something? You know, like, but what I see for him is he's put confusion in there or something like that. Like he's reaching, like, what do you mean the world's gonna end? You know, I don't get what you're saying. You know, like, well, what should we put a paper bag over our heads, or like what can I do to survive? What you know, like, have some intensity in there that, you know, like if he does something like this, he's reaching for something that's not there. Like, what can I do? What can I, you know, what can happen for me? You know, or maybe he's touching himself a lot, like, oh God, like, oh, the world's gonna end. Oh no. Or maybe he's doing something with his fingers, like, what do you mean the world's gonna end? I don't understand what you're saying. You know, even though it's not in the line, you can give that through the body, and I think that that's missing. Or even if you flail his arms, like, the world's, what do you mean the world's, you know? Because right now it's just everything's flat. It's like, well, you mean the world's gonna end? Yes. Oh, well, should we do something? No. You know, it's just like, because the line is kind of so, you know, so flat, kind of, you need to kind of put something in there that makes it more intense. Um,
Shouldn't we lie down or put a paper bag over our heads?
shouldn't we lie down or put a paper bag over our heads or something? You know, like just have him like searching. You know, because right now he's kind of like he's just
The same?
everything is very nonchalant at the moment. It's like, you know, it's like, so the world's gonna end. It's like, yes. Well, shouldn't we lie down or put a paper bag? There's no intensity. I want urgency. It's like, well, shouldn't we lie down or put a paper bag over heads or something? You know, um, just to get that some intensity in there. And I think that's my main note, is that, you know, and you can do that with the facial expressions. But it would be nice to get more gestures like, what can we do? You know, because that tells the story that, okay, he's like, oh, he's pooping a brick. He's like, oh, well, the world's gonna end. Okay, well, he's finding out for the first time. So, what could we do to live? You know. So, yeah, I think that that's mainly my note, I guess, is just to see what you can do to intensify their emotions. Um, because right, you know, right now they're right. If I would graph this, they're right like this. They're like, you know, so the world's gonna end. Yes. Well, should we lie down or put a paper bag over our heads? Well, you could if you wanted to. All right. You know, it's kind of, you gotta. If this guy is gonna be so flat, then this guy has to be intense to match his flatness. You know, like, so the world's gonna end. Yes. Oh, what do you mean the world's gonna end? Should we lie down or put a paper? Well, you could do it. You know, that way that there's kind of like a dynamic going on in their actions. I hope that helped in some way. If it was confusing or anything, or if I didn't make sense, let me know, and I'll try to do a better job explaining. But yeah, I think that if you could just try to put some more emotion in there, and that'll come through more. There's not it feels flat in the line, but I think you can do things with the body that brings out emotion and intensity, intensify the scene. So that's all I have for now. So hopefully that helps in some way, and I wish you luck. Good luck.